So I just want to go over how you would change a Paul FIE mask to the latest 2018 safety rules. So for our agents, we are going to provide you with a riveting machine that we've made that can be fixed to your carts. You can either clamp them in with a G-clamp, which we can provide, or you can fix it into the vise. Now, it will come with three different tools or different heads. For exchange masks, you only need one tool, which is the number 1. For fixed bib masks, you need 3 tools to do the 2 different types of rivet. So this is to puncture the hole, because the fixed bib masks, they have to go through cloth, so you need a bigger rivet as opposed to the exchange mask where you just have this much thinner, smaller rivet. So this will simply clamp into your vise. So you get it to the right size, get it in flat, and then tighten it up. Then for an exchange mask, we would use tool 1. So you have the spring, slide that onto the tool, then slide that in, and then this is the base unit, which is going to pick up the bottom of the rivet. Next, the first step is to remove the old Velcro from the mask. So we're going to do it with an exchange mask and then a fixed bib mask. So you need a very sharp pair of pliers. These are these snips, and they've got quite a thick structure, so they're very robust and you can get a real good cut on them. Then you're going to need a big screwdriver and perhaps maybe a smaller screwdriver. So the Velcro is riveted in 3 places, and we're going to cut off what's called the head of the rivet, which is the top part of the rivet, using these pliers. So what you want to do is get it nice and sort of solid, firmly held, and then line your pliers up, and then you're just trying to cut the silver metal cap off the rivet. And what I'll do is we'll do a close-up of this process so you can see it closely. So I'll just snip these off, and it's just taking off the head. So now we're going to use the screwdriver to get underneath, and then we're sort of levering, which should pull the rivet up the other side. It's a bit tricky to do on camera, but you want to sort of get underneath the rivet, and then you can see that's pulled out. And then the next one, you can see it there. So you want to get sort of underneath it, and then use a bit of this, use the Velcro and the so you can see there it's been sort of peeled back because I've managed to get right under it. And then once you get under it, you should just pull out fairly easily. So that's 2 out. Now that the Velcro has been removed, we need to attach the back strap fixing plate, which is this stainless steel plate. Now, for every different size of mask, the location of this will change, because you want the strap to be as low as possible but still allow your head to get in. The easiest way is to find an existing mask and cross-reference it and use it as sort of a template to follow, or if you, with a bit of experience, you learn to know where it is. So I know for this size large mask, my fixing plate goes very near this FIE plate here, or in line with the bottom edge of this forehead pad Velcro. So then we take this little pin rivet, and you've got to locate it through the hole, and then we're keeping the metal plate as close to the safe edge, this rubber safe edge, as possible, and then it's a question of pushing the rivet through before taking it to the riveting machine. So for the second rivet, again, we take it, we line it up with the hole that we're going to put it through. We can then use this little hand crimp just to help ease it through. And then nice hard press down. And there you can see that that's been riveted in. So for a fixed bib mask, all we're going to do is the same sort of process. So we cut off the head of the rivet. Then we use the large screwdriver again, just to peel away the metal rivet. And the key to this part is to get right under the metal rivet, and then they just peel up. So now that's removed, we can add the metal plate, and it uses a slightly different rivet through the cloth. Through the mesh it uses the same rivet, but through the cloth we use a slightly bigger, thicker rivet. So now we've taken off the old Velcro, we're going to add in this new piece. Now the difference is you need a slightly different rivet when you're going through cloth as well as the metal. So the metal piece you'd use just the same process as the previous exchange mask, but for the cloth piece you need to first of all make a slightly larger hole to use these larger rivets that can go through cloth as well as metal. So we need to change the head of the riveter, so you keep the spring. Now this one has a point which is just going to spread the mesh a bit to give you to allow you to go through the cloth and the hole, and then the bottom piece has a hole in order to push through. Then you take your mask, and again it's a question of lining up. Now depending on the size, sometimes you'll have an aluminium rivet in a sabre mask only that might be kind of slightly in the way of where you'd expect this to sit on the inside. But what you can do is, if you look inside the mask, you can see where the rivet is. It's actually fine to just go slightly behind the rivet, and that creates this angle. So this will be sat, if you imagine, just there, sitting in front of the rivet inside the mask, and be back there, and that will mean that the back strap is coming down. It's fine if the metal is facing at an angle down, because that makes it more likely to catch the back of the head, but you can never have it angling upwards, because that would mean that the back strap is more likely to go above the back of the head. So we find our position where we're going to place our strap, make sure that it's not too low down, and you can mark it. Then take a marker pen and just place a little dot where you're going to go through, and then you take your mask, make sure that everything's nicely lined up how you want it. You take your pin, you line up your this sort of spreader, and this is basically going to go in, spread the mesh a bit, and cut through all the cloth and all of the 800 Newton material. Now that you've made the hole, you can push through your new rivet. So you can see that that's now coming through that side of the hole. Then you need to change from the spreader to the thing that's actually going to force the rivet in place. Again, you need the spring. So this then will make sure that, oh, I've forgotten this part, that goes in here. And again, the top of the holder for the rivet has a hole, a bump, which should fit inside the hole of the rivet. And then once you feel it's firmly in place, you place your cap on the rivet, and then again lining it up and then pulling down nice and hard, and then that is now riveted in place. Now we'll just use the same method as before to rivet the top piece in place, do the same on the other side, and there you'd have a finished mask.